The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. The Department of Defense is working with Google to help secure America's digital defense systems, from establishing cloud-based zero-trust solutions to deploying the latest AI technology. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American innovation.
Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads, like...
Cuervo.
I think you could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.
Cuervo.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings,
Why are you listening to this show?
the podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Woo! Yeah.
That's right.
Is it possible that the University of Connecticut women's basketball team is the greatest, that program? We were talking about unbreakable records, and I was thinking about Ovechkin, the goals. I've got a top 5 list I want to get to of unbreakable records. But then I started thinking about, and I watched the women's final, Paige Bueckers, what they did. Am I missing, is it the Celtics dynasty in the NBA? Is that the only other one that we could argue Red Auerbach?
UCLA
successful?
with John Wooden, maybe?
Good one.
I mean, they won, 8 out of 10 championships?
Kareem.
God, that's a crazy run, and Bill Walton as well.
I
But
actually think what's interesting about UConn's championship yesterday is the first one in 9 years. And unless you're a big fan of the sport, you probably didn't realize their championship drought has been that long. Like, they haven't won since before Donald Trump was elected.
Is that a drought?
The first time. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
When you're that
after you're
successful?
winning, they had just come off of winning like 4 in a row right up until that point, and then they lost one 3 years ago, and then they were finally back in it and won. So yeah, I mean, I think it's almost like, I don't want to say more impressive, but women's basketball has obviously grown a lot in the last decade, and so to win now, even though they do have like 3 of the number 1 overall recruits in the country starting on their team, it's still super impressive because it has been 9 years since they won one.
I mean, they went 2000, 2002, 2003, 2004 as one run. Then 2009, 2010, 13, 14, 15, 16. And hadn't won since then. So this is a really long gap in the span of the time where they've been this dominant. It's almost, I mean, in that way, it's reminiscent of the San Antonio Spurs, right? Where they could, in that run with Duncan Ginobili, they would win a championship, maybe even win a couple. I think they won 1 back-to-back or 2 out of 3, would go 6 or 7 years and then be in the same situation again with that same core, where Popovich, I guess, could be the parallel there. But this is a level of dominance that far surpasses what the Spurs were able to do, obviously.
You guys are tough. To call that a drought, I think that people in Chicago, fans of the Cubs or Red Sox, would tell you what a
no
real
one's saying it's
drought
like a
is.
long drought, like it's a record-breaking drought.
Doesn't drought mean long?
No, not necessarily.
Can you be a 3-year drought?
You can have short droughts or long droughts.
For titles?
I think a drought period is around, 7 or 8 years, 9 years. I think this qualifies.
One bad drought could put a whole farm out of business forever.
True.
Yeah.
Now a drought when it comes to crops,
Yeah.
I view very differently than a drought that is titles.
Really? Why?
They're very different droughts. One actually stops your ability to do business maybe permanently, and one is just, hey, we made it to the finals.
Yeah,
we didn't
I
win.
think it's all relative. Like, it's a drought relative to what UConn was doing prior to 2016. That's all I'm saying.
It's like the 9-year drought, I guess. This could just be the beginning of a new dynasty of sorts, right? So, like, it seems like Gino has had a series of dynasties at UConn over the span of 30 years or whatever it is.
40 years. Like, he started coaching there in 1985, I want to say. Like, he's been there forever.
I'm counting this as one dynasty. I was thinking about this also last night. This was my 3 a.m. thought as I was thinking about how to put in context what UConn did. I view that if you, like with the Spurs, with the Warriors, if the Astros win again in 3 years, let's say, if the Chiefs win again in 2 years, I view it all as one.
But college sports is different, right? Because nobody's the same except the coaches.
So that's why it's one dynasty.
I don't really understand.
So
what
it's
you're
the
saying.
Gino Auriemma dynasty is really what you're saying, because theoretically each run of players had their own mini dynasty within this long-term one. And that's why I think the word drought is actually makes sense, because if you're taking it in this run of time where he's been the coach, 9 years is a huge chunk of that, right? That's a quarter of the time he's been a coach, and that they went that long without a championship, considering the amount of championships they have. I think that what Jess is saying makes sense, which is the game has evolved so much in the time since Gino's last championship was won at UConn with the group of players that he had at the time, that now you can look at this in some ways as more impressive, that he was able to now in a new age of women's college basketball lead a team to a championship with a dynamic player like Paige Beckers and the rest of the dynamic players that they have, because it's all a recruiting thing.
That being said, like, yeah, they're still, it's
Right.
not like they ever stopped recruiting the best players in the country. They just weren't able to win because there were better teams that beat them.
Anytime there's an old coach, do we have to say that a coach who was involved back when there were typewriters, and then someone who's good at a computer, do they get credit for longevity?
Well,
because
especially
they've lived through?
in college sports, I think so, given the amount of older college coaches stepping away from the game. Right, in whatever sport you choose, look across all of them. There's all these coaches, particularly we look at college football, right? And all of these guys who were, established powerhouses have stepped away now. Even down here, Jim Larinaga at UM, like, he stepped away because the game is changing, passing you by, all of these different things. To see Gino now in this stage, in this iteration of women's college basketball, having this amount of success. I mean, look, the recruiting has always been there. So you could argue it was actually like not winning over the last 9 years is a surprise considering how good their teams have been. But to be here now has to be impressive, and especially when you look at the amount of time that's passed.
I think that he's going to love this one looking back more than the others. I think that he's going to say to himself that, wow, I have extended my greatness. And the way he was celebrating, did you see the dance he was doing as he was waiting at the end of the game? He did this sort of, he looked like me when I dance. I have one move, like the belt move or the dice move.
What's the belt move?
The belt move is when you have your hands over the belt and you whip it off, but not actually. You pretend you're taking your belt off, and you do that with the belt. You ever seen the belt move?
No.
And then do you like lasso someone?
Yes.
Yeah, and
but
then
it's
like,
fake.
hey,
It's not a real belt. Wait, no one's done the belt
No,
move?
of course, but
It's the...
yeah. Oh God.
No one's seen
Hell
that.
And you're shaking your hips.
You
What's the
guys haven't been
success
to a
rate
bar
on the belt
mitzvah.
move?
Do you guys not go to bar mitzvahs?
I've been to probably about 100.
And you've never seen the belt move?
Of course, I've seen the belt move, David, but I'm
great
trying to
move.
keep us pro-Semite over here.
How often do you do the belt move? Like once a song? Multiple times a song? You have to build up to the belt move?
It's a great question and something I think about. I split the dances at bar mitzvahs or parties into sections. So anytime there's a lot of fast music at once, that's a section. Then they do a slow song. That's the end of a section. And then there's another get up and go after you eat the main course. The belt move is good for once a section. The dice move, I can do all day long.
Let me see the dice move.
The dice move is this.
Okay, don't do that.
All day long.
You're
Be
hopping up
careful
and down
with
while
that.
doing
Easy. Oh, I'm always,
Yeah.
you're always moving and dancing. I love dancing.
That's a gift.
That's a great move.
It's
Easy
amazing.
one to do. Sometimes if I'm feeling a little lucky and happy, I'll do the John Travolta Uma Thurman move.
What's that?
Which dance are you doing? Umas or?
I can do that one.
Oh, you are
I
doing
mean,
Umas.
that's when I'm really feeling good at a bar mitzvah.
Do you ever have like a fast portion of the music where you don't get to the belt move?
Yes, because the belt move is special. I have to be in the right frame of mind with the right people around. I have to make sure my kids are nowhere to be seen because they're embarrassed by it all. So that's very important.
The belt move is the one that embarrasses them, not the dice.
I threw up at my son's bar mitzvah.
Really?
That's embarrassing.
Why?
Not ideal. I had too much to drink.
Oh.
I was on the lawn
Classic
outside my
Gretzky.
son's bar mitzvah.
Did people see you throwing up?
Well, since I was in charge of transportation for everybody and we had large vehicles taking people various places and the transportation couldn't move because I was unable to board said transportation, I would say yes.
Was it like, haha, oh my God, he's throwing up? Or was it like, ooh, yikes, he's definitely overserved?
Oh, I think it's so. There's David again. This tracks.
Well, you're excused. You're the
Wait, does
dad
this
in
happen to you
situation.
often?
It used to, back in the day when I had kids and I had more of these parties on a weekend that I may or may not have wanted to go to, I would often do things that would go too far. Too much.
In terms of alcohol consumption.
So at my kids' bar mitzvahs, you have to give a speech. Other kids' bar mitzvahs, you can start right in at the appetizer hour. You can even pre-party, but when you're hosting, you can't drink at all until you're done with talking. So I made a commitment to my family that I would not do anything to change my mental state until after I was done.
And then you had to catch up.
Then I played catch up.
Yep.
Very common with fathers of the bride or fathers of the bar mitzvah boy. It's the catch up that kills you. You can't do it. You just have to be at your pace. But yes, I wasn't mortified. It was a sign of like, oh, there's David again. At
Just
least
means it was a good party.
it was a good party. I want to get back to UConn because I want to make sure Gino understands the love that we're giving him here, because maybe we don't do enough on women's sports. It's unreal what he's done. Maybe I could argue the greatest coach in the history of all college sports. And you're going to think that's recency bias and hyperbole, but I dare you, John Wooden was a good one, I dare you to come up with a college coach who has been more successful than Gino. And you're going to have to think about it, and maybe you'll get back to me, maybe you won't. In the meantime, is there a chance that we have a stat of the day about this?
Start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, it is your start of the day. Start of the day, it is your start of the day.
Stat of the day is brought to you by Evan Williams Bourbon, Game Day's #1 pour. Evan Williams Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, Bardstown, Kentucky, 43 to 45% alcohol by volume. Enjoy responsibly, 21 and over. Paige Beckers is the only college basketball player, male or female, to beat 6 #1 seeds in the NCAA tournament.
Let me digest that. To beat 6 #1 seeds, so you can still be a #1 seed because you can do that in the Final Four or the final.
Over a career.
But are we saying there's 4 #1 seeds in the tournament?
I mean, she's there, what, 4 years?
She's 23. I think it's more so she's played in the NCAA tournament so many times and I guess beaten so many #1 seeds over the span of her career.
Because, mind you, she was a 2 seed, right? So you can add a couple more this year.
But how many #1 seeds are there?
There are 4. There are 4 #1 seeds.
That's sort of cheating, isn't it?
You're not supposed to say the stat that Roy gave is bad.
I'm not saying it's a bad stat.
That's a Dan move.
No, I'm just asking for clarification.
Well, there's 4 #1 seeds, and sometimes those #1 seeds can get upset. So, sometimes the #1 seed might not make it to the final. You never know.
Beating 6 #1 seeds is
that
insane.
a major number?
Yeah, because that means you have to not only make it deep enough in the tournament to face these #1 seeds that often, but to beat 6 of them, not just having gone up against 6, but to have 6 wins over 1 seeds in the tournament, considering how good you have to be to get there. I don't know.
How many
Seems
losses
impressive
does
to
she
me.
have?
I don't know.
Come on.
It's not there.
It's not part of the stat of the
It's
day.
not part
At
of
least
Saturday.
2 off the top of my head, but
Ooh, wait, right off the top?
Iowa and South Carolina, but I know I'm forgetting some from her younger seasons.
So the most 1 seed you can beat in a given tournament is 3.
Why can't you beat 4?
Because you wouldn't face the other side. The 2 ones on the other side would face each other. So, like, if you're the 2 seed, for example, you're not a 1 seed. You'd beat the 1 seed in your bracket, and then you'd beat the 1 seed in the bracket that you go up against. So, like, Region 1 versus Region 2, and then you'd face the winner of Region 3 versus Region 4.
So you can beat 3.
You can beat 3. You can't beat 4 because there's always the one that's going to take out another 1. So 6
That's
is
a great stat.
impressive.
The most you can do is 3 per year. And so to do that, you'd have to win it all.
And if you're a 1 seed, the most you can beat is 2.
Because you're only in the Final Four in the final.
Yeah.
This year, Florida's a 1 seed. They're going for 2 defeats of a number 1 seed. Tonight.
Yeah.
9 o'clock. Is it still 9 o'clock?
It's way too late.
Yeah. No, I think they moved it up to like 8:50 now. They're like, we'll give you 20 minutes back. Like, guess what? I'm still gonna fall asleep before halftime.
I thought they were thinking of moving it to way earlier. Did I make
don't know
that
if they're
up? Did
ever
anyone
gonna
read
move
that?
it that far earlier.
Someone check on that for me. I thought that they were changing the time of the final game because it used to be after 9 p.m. and I thought they were moving it significantly earlier. Well, you don't have to say PM when you say 2100.
That's true, 2100
it's just
hours.
2100.
I found John McDonnell from Arkansas won 40 national championships. He was a track and field and cross country coach. 40 national championships. The track coaches really start accumulating them because second place Pat Henry has 35 national championships. Because you can win indoor and outdoor for men and women, and you can win cross country as well.
Compiler.
And he coaches all of them? One coach coaches all those teams?
I mean, yes, because cross country, I guess, is a little different. But like indoor and outdoor track and field, there's like a head coach. It's the same team. There's just 2 seasons. There's outdoor season and indoor season. So it's the same athletes just competing in different seasons, but there's national champions per season. So you can really rack up the national championships that way. Anson Dorrance of North Carolina, 21 national championships, women's soccer.
I think he just retired this past season.
I'm a snob for various reasons, but I feel like what Gino does, if you're a basketball coach, I feel like it's more important than being a track coach.
Wow.
And I'm a track guy.
Are you?
But I ran the hurdles. No one would do it. I was a short hurdle runner in high school, and I had great incentive to get over them. And so, is that wrong of me to say that winning basketball titles is more important than track and field titles?
Yes.
I'm sorry. It's just, am I the only one who feels that way? Because then we have to change who the GOAT is. Gino's not even in the conversation. How many titles does he have? 11?
Yeah, I agree. He's not in the conversation.
Wow.
Yeah, he's out of the conversation now.
That's outrageous.
How about Dan Gable? He won 15 national championships in wrestling at Iowa.
Wow.
As a coach.
I do think building a powerhouse is... I wonder the difficulty of building a powerhouse in a sport that's lower revenue or not quite as nationally known, right? Because theoretically, if you're dominant in that way, it might be something that becomes easier. At the same time, without the resources to recruit, maybe it's even more impressive to be able to have something that sustains that way.
I can't be the only sports snob. I can't be. The guy who's the best bowler in the world. And I used to know his name, and it's not John Turturro from the movie, but it's...
You mean that, I don't know, like, who do you think you are?
I am?
Oh, he was... I mean...
That was famous.
Not him.
But no. I'm talking
Norm
about,
Duke?
No. I'll know it if it's one of those things you know it if you're... But no matter how good you are at bowling, you don't get to be in the conversation with LeBron.
Don Carter?
Don Carter.
Is that really who
Don Carter.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah, Paula Carter, good bowler too.
But guess what? I don't care how good you are at bowling.
Pete Weber.
Pete Weber was really good also. He was good.
He was too rock and roll for bowling, if we're going to be honest with you. Wearing the sunglasses, doing the suck it sign. Pete Weber, really, a disgrace to the game of bowling.
He's trying, though. He's trying to up the ante of bowling, which I respect.
No, let's just stick to the basics. Throw the ball down the lane. None of that spinny crap. You know what I mean? Straight down the middle. Put on your shoes. Even the gloves sometimes. I feel like the glove on the wrist sometimes goes a little too far. Nuts and bolts. Just go down there, throw the straight ball, knock down the 10 pins, sit down. Maybe congratulate your opponent at the end. That's all.
Folks, I want to talk to you about Game Time. I've been using the Game Time map plenty as I'm starting to plan my summer concert season, looking for great trips around concerts, and also with a sporting equinox in town, essentially, I've been checking the Game Time app every single day to see if I can get great deals on NASCAR and tennis. And let me tell you about this amazing new feature that Game Time has now called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. You can even find last-minute tickets up to 60% off quickly and easily using Game Time Picks. Game Time Picks makes curation easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. You know, the whole deal. And it's got all-in pricing. With a little click of a tab, you don't get surprised at checkout. You know what you're getting into. Seat views, panoramic seat views from the seats that you're thinking about buying. You get to see exactly what your view would look like. That was super clutch at a concert I went to last week. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Ever feel like your paycheck disappeared before you even know where it went? You're not alone. Tracking your spending can be tricky, especially when little expenses sneak up on you. Late night food deliveries, I'm raising my hand, that happens to me all the time. Impulse online shopping, sporting event tickets, and don't even get me started on organic baby wipes and diapers. I mean, that's costing me a fortune right now. Finances can feel overwhelming, but Monarch Money makes it simple. Think of it as your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop just earning and start growing. More than just a budgeting app, Monarch Money is a complete financial command center, helping you manage accounts, investments, and goals all in one place. Batard Show listeners get 50% off their first year by using code DAN at monarchmoney.com. Without a clear financial picture, your biggest money goals can feel out of reach. Monarch Money makes managing your finances effortless, even for busy lives. It syncs all your accounts, credit cards, and investments so you always know where your money stands. No more guessing, no more stress. Just a clear, organized view of your financial life. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DAN at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DAN, D-A-N.
Folks, it's Mike Ryan, and do you know that Miller Lite has basically been a partner of this show for almost 20 years? And as we celebrate 50 years of Miller Lite, that means for a large chunk of it, and look, I didn't go to school for math, but I'm pretty sure that's like 80% of the time that Miller Lite's been existing, they've been with our show. And I'm so grateful for it because we truly believe this. If you listen to us back in our radio days, throughout our times in national radio, to the Pirate Face, to now, you know that Miller Lite has been a huge supporter of ours. And I've always been a huge supporter of Miller Lite. Why? Because it's got taste you know you can depend on. A great beer, trusted by beer lovers for 50 years. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Dan Batard.
Tatas.
Stugotz.
Tatas.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I'm working on a charity event.
Really?
I'm thinking about this. I'm trying to raise money to cure Parkinson's. My best friend has it, 123 Brett. And he never gets cured. He just gets worse every year. There is no cure. It's an absolute disaster, and all we do is raise money, and it doesn't work. But we're not going to give up. We're going to keep trying. I was thinking about a 24-hour bowl-a-thon. Bowl straight for 24 hours.
Can you take breaks?
Well, you don't bowl every... if you have 5 people on a team, you're only bowling once every 5...
you can't stop in between games. You're just going over and over.
No, you bowl for 24 hours.
Why bowling?
Your potty break has to be in between.
There's plenty of time.
Okay, well, it depends. Sometimes people are fast bowlers.
Well, but sometimes you have to wait. Like when you go get a drink at a bowling alley, sometimes your team has to wait for you.
So you could stretch out your games long enough that you're only going to play like 6 games over the span of 24 hours is what you're saying.
No, how do you stretch out a game to 4 hours?
I mean, it sounds
Go
like...
with my family.
You know.
Dislocated shoulder.
Well, I did think about if you bowl for 24 hours, I'm going to have to bowl lefty for part of the time. Because I don't think my right arm will be able to
But just use a lighter ball. Use like an 8-pounder instead of like a 12.
I think no matter what size ball you have, doing that motion over 24 hours is not tenable.
Why did you settle on bowling for this?
Great question. It's not settled. There's been a few things that are up in the air, like a dance-a-thon, a 24-hour dance-a-thon. There was a talk about doing a 24-hour. We did a 48-hour running race last year. That was good. but we're not in shape anymore. We don't want to run for 48 hours straight. So
Napathon?
So we talked about one time Brett, to raise money, did a lobster roll-a-thon. He ate 7 lobster rolls in 7 hours in 7 places. Raised like 50 grand too, and vomited. But it was a good one. Didn't cure Parkinson's though.
Too much mayonnaise.
He got
Like you at the bar mitzvah.
He hasn't had a lobster roll since. Totally made him crazy. The thing about bowling for me, and the reason why, by the way, the domino tournament, for those of you who had tickets, just know it is postponed. It's not canceled. The Poppy's Domino Tournament with Ricky Williams was scheduled for April 13th. It's been postponed. Dan did a video on Twitter at Batard Show. If people watch that, him telling you about the postpone. Did anybody see that? Am I the only one still on X?
Yes, you are.
I am. Well,
yes.
So you didn't watch the video at all?
No, we saw it.
We're all on a team here. Is anyone paying attention
Was
to
it
anything?
the video where he made fun of his eyebrows?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I did see that one.
But that's what you remember?
Yes, that was my takeaway. I was like,
So-
oh, he knows that something's going on up there.
The human brain is funny because what you remembered was the last second of the video only. The eyebrows was
Well, I
at
already
the end.
knew the beginning part.
Yeah.
But did you hear what he said about logistics people?
No.
Yeah, are you the logistics person?
Great question. Yes.
So he was saying he's going to fire you.
It certainly sounded that way to me.
Ah, okay.
I wanted to come here and be with you guys and do the
On
show
your last
today.
day?
Listen, he's in tomorrow, I believe, not today. So I believe I'm safe for today. And the reason I wanted to get the extra plug in for the postponement of the Domino's tournament was in an effort to maybe get back on his good side for having screwed up the logistics so badly. And I'm a logistics guy, but he's not easy.
So bowling.
24 hours. Would you guys fly to New York to do it? How much would you have to get paid? Or would you donate your time?
No, I would get paid.
When is it?
You'd have to get paid?
When is it?
Well, thank you. I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
I just want to know your rate, and then I'll decide.
I'll let you know. We'll negotiate.
Roy's rate is give him like a free shirt or food
Open
or
bar,
something.
Roy's there. Yeah, Roy's there. You pay for his flight, open bar, free hotel, he's there.
Well, I'm not drinking currently, so no open bar.
We are going to have pop.
There you go.
All right, soda. Great.
Roy's in.
I don't say pop. I don't know why.
Give me some water.
I say pop.
You do?
Yeah.
Do you
He's
say
just funny
bubbler?
for it. What?
Bubbler?
No.
Water fountain.
Yeah, I don't say that.
Yeah, people say bubbler. The reason why bowling is I think that we can get a lot of money, and more importantly, we can get bowling shirts that are unique, your own bowling shirts, and I was going to get some celebrities to sign bowling shoes and auction those off as well. Personalized bowling shoes.
What celebrities do you know that will actually sign these shoes?
Well, I think the 4 of you would sign.
Saquon Barkley was wondering why David was
Saquon
running
Barkley
around that
would
bar
sign.
mitzvah with a bowling shoe.
Saquon
Now we
Barkley
know.
would sign a bowling shoe.
Yeah.
He's very nice.
When
Very
is this?
charitable.
What's our target date here?
We're going to do
Or
it in
season?
September.
September. Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, is it a Saturday?
It's 24 hours. We would probably do it from Friday at 7 to Saturday at 7 in that
Are we
range.
talking 1900?
Shabbat.
Or?
No, 7
So
a.m.
that's an issue, but we're going to have to.
And we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
football
could have
season.
one lane where people are manually putting the pictures down.
Or just dropping it into the thing that does all the work for you.
Exactly.
Well,
right.
is
Perfect.
this, I'm confused. Is this a competition or just let's see if we can do it? Like, are there teams going up
Yes.
against each other and then like there's a winner at the end of this?
Yes. Everything's a competition.
Is the donation like gambling? So you can put in a donation with certain odds, and then you have to pay out other odds if your team loses. That could be
Love
kind of
where
fun.
your head's at, Jeremy. The donation, you have to raise a base amount for Michael J. Fox. We want to raise that to try to cure Parkinson's, but we are going to have it so that there will be prizes that will go to winning teams, teams who raise the most money, teams who bowl the best. We'll have a prize for the best individual game. I assume somebody will break 200 for sure.
I think this is actually a really good idea. I like 24-hour because especially with bowling, like there are so many built-in breaks that I think you're in good shape here. I think this is a smart thing to do. Can I get the flight paid for?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone
Then I
who
might
gets
be there. I could
anyone
do
who
that.
flies in for who is a celebrity,
I think
gets their travel paid
Anytime you
Appreciate
bring
you
up
calling me a celebrity.
24-hour anything with this show, there's immediate red flags that are going to be raised.
No peppers, right?
Cory Booker made it look so easy compared to how hard it was for us,
man.
right?
for.
Yeah.
He did it for 20. He
incredible.
broke the record.
Yeah, he made it look so much simpler than we did.
Well, he had notes.
He did have notes.
We
had
nothing
notes.
stopped us from having
why didn't we have notes?
It wasn't a surprise.
We did have notes, by the way. That whole fiasco was very planned out from a logistics standpoint, from a everything else standpoint.
You'd be surprised to hear how many meetings went into that.
Yeah. Last time we ever had meetings.
This was before I was with Metalark. Nothing Personal was not a part of Metalark at that point. And I remember watching you guys do that, thinking to myself, I want to do this. I want to broadcast for 24 hours. I want to do something. That's why I love the 48-hour runs. I love the overnight ultras.
40-hour runs after was actually why it was not going to happen again.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's obviously a lot of reasons why it may or may not happen
joke,
again.
David.
Yes, I got it. I'm trying to not bring that up again as something that happened. But what I am trying to bring up is the whole idea of raising money through something that is hard to do, but anyone could do. Anyone can bowl for 24 hours if they choose. Anyone can be on the floor of the Senate for 25 hours. It doesn't take... yes.
Really.
Yes.
Anyone.
Any senator...
Any senator? Well, you said anyone. You didn't
anyone
specifically
can talk.
say senator.
There are people who Twitch like for 7 hours in a row, one stream playing video games. There are people. I bet you there's someone who plays right now. I bet you there's someone in the world in the middle of a 24-hour video game bender. What was the guy who got paid to watch a show? It was a huge thing. I should have prepped this. I didn't think I'd think of it. Do you remember he couldn't get out of his couch? He had to watch every episode of a show, and he ended up getting super sick because he went crazy. He couldn't stand up. You'll think of it. You'll get back to me. Jeremy's
I
checking.
have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, you get like bed sores or something?
You do know what I'm talking about because it was very easily said. I'm talking about someone who would watch every episode of a show straight through, not able to move.
In 2021, Alexander Townley, a UK resident, gained notoriety for being paid $6,804 to watch every episode of The Simpsons and receive complimentary donuts. But there's no indication he got sick as part of the job. Of course, this is via Google AI, which is probably wrong.
30 seasons. Dude,
that's crazy.
Wow.
I feel like the donut thing is why he got sick. I mean,
Did he have to eat a donut every hour? Be a lot of donuts.
Doing some research.
it's a lot of
Have you
donuts.
thought about an eating challenge? We talked about that
No,
as well.
don't do
That's
that.
the whole.
And I don't mean the
yeah.
pepper thing.
No,
I'm
don't
talking
do any
about
of those.
like I had a Hostess cupcake the other day. I hadn't had one of
What?
those since childhood.
Thoughts?
Do you ever eat food from your childhood that you have not eaten in decades and then you just do it?
No, because I had to stop eating it at some point.
No, but I'd stopped eating Hostess cupcakes and then I saw them at the checkout and I said, you know what? I just went to the doctor. I
It's
had
never
great
as good as you
results.
remember, right? I saw an article in Eater about a woman who really liked Smart Food popcorn and said that she felt like it hadn't been as just flavorful as her recollection of it. And she did a whole investigation. TLDR, it just doesn't taste the same as it used to.
Yeah.
It wasn't just her imagination. It's not the same formula or something.
The Miami-Dade Youth Fair came back, and as a child, I used to love the fried dough, the elephant ears.
Yeah.
Had one the day before. As great as I remember.
Really?
Yeah.
It's probably they didn't change the ingredients.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Or the oil.
Fried,
Oh, the oil. Well, they
fried
probably did
dough.
change the oil.
No,
Still
I don't
gonna
think
be
so.
fried dough.
It's the same oil from like 30 years ago.
Yeah, that oil you don't change.
It's probably the same pan from 30 years
Yeah.
ago.
It probably is.
That's what you're supposed to do. I never have done that because I don't barbecue or cook at all. But you're supposed to keep it dirty, that somehow the flavors stay in it and it helps your food.
Yeah, they do that for deep dish pizza in Chicago, right? They use the pan and they don't clean it, they don't change it out or anything.
I think that's just probably a cast iron pan, right?
Yeah,
Like,
cast
keep
iron,
the
yeah.
seasoning on it.
I think it's gross.
I know it's delicious.
It's definitely gross,
I don't
but it's
understand.
delicious.
I don't think it's
when you
gross.
think about it, it's
you're
disgusting.
heating it at like 450 degrees. There's nothing like living on it.
But under that theory, then you wouldn't have to wash anything.
No.
Because if you're cooking, like any pan you cook in, any pot that you cook
well, you
stuff in,
clean like the residue out of it, but you don't scrub it with soap and water every time you use it.
The burnt cheese, you got to get out of there.
and I always have to soak it. I always try to quickly eat when there's cheese on the plate that's been microwaved for something. I eat quickly or transfer plates to clean the plate immediately. Otherwise, it hardens up, and then you're stuck with a dish in your sink.
Well, you
for
do
extra
that.
time.
You eat it too quickly, though, you're going to end up burning the roof of your mouth, and that's not good.
You just put your tongue on it. Tongue on the top of the mouth. There's a little trick that you'll all have. You'll never burn your mouth or get brain freeze again. If you get brain freeze with ice cream, just stick your tongue to the roof of your mouth.
Turns out this guy was hired by a website to watch every episode of The Simpsons because there had been so many coincidences of them predicting the future that they wanted someone who could watch every single episode, take notes of every single episode, and send it back to this website to see if it correlated with anything that also got predicted in the future.
I believe that Simpsons have said that Trump would die on April 12th of 2025. And that was prior to him being president. It was a Simpsons episode, and Jeremy, I may have this wrong because this is another weird overnight brain thing, but I believe the Simpsons have done a lot of predicting of a lot of things, and they had an episode of Trump in a casket on April 12th, not knowing, of course, that the tariffs would happen and not knowing that the market, please everyone be calm. The markets are open. Can we get an update? I'm not even looking at my phone. I assume the markets, the futures were down. There was going to be a 1,500-point drop on the open. Did it happen?
The Times of India has reported that clip is fake.
Of the Dow Jones?
Of the Trump death prediction.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, the Times of
India. I thought they did a bunch of predicting.
They have done a bunch of predicting, but this one I think is AI generated. Let's find out together.
It is incredibly frustrating how many times I get caught thinking that something I see is true.
Deception sucks.
The Dow dropped 1,000 points.
I want everyone to be calm. Let me give 2 words on the tariffs, if you don't mind. There's a lot of misunderstanding out there, if you'll join me, and a lot of misunderstanding on how to deal with your 401k plan or your savings. Do not panic sell. I'm not giving you investment advice. I'm just giving you real-world, long-time advice from someone who's been around the block.
Don't panic sell. Don't panic, comma.
Selling low and buying high is how you get poor. Just keep that in mind. And this is what people do. They look at their accounts today and they say, oh my God, I've lost a couple grand. Panic, I'm putting it in my mattress. The only thing that guarantees you losing money when the market's down is you cashing out at that point. Again, not investment advice, just smart advice. The tariff situation is an interesting one because the reason the markets are down is not because of what Trump did with tariffs. The markets are down because of Trump misleading the markets and people into what the tariffs would be. And the market does not like confusion.
Trump misleading people. Wow.
Doesn't like that. Markets don't like that. It can happen.
It's so rare.
The market prices in certain things. They price in certain things with interest rates, certain things with tariffs. And markets then are stable. Things are priced in, you read about that. The reason why it's been such a nightmare is that what was expected with the Trump tariffs did not come to pass. He went way deeper, went way higher. And of course, all the stuff about the tariffs of penguins and all of that stuff, that's not really relevant to your 401k or relevant to the actual potential pending recession. So I would just encourage everyone not to panic. You guys seem pretty good. Is that because you don't care?
No, it's because we don't have money.
Well, we don't have a 401k either.
Well, but if you have any money in a bank,
we don't have a 401k
savings,
match.
I believe you do have 401k as a benefit of Meadowlark because you're an employee. You can put money into a 401k, and no matter how much money you're making, you'll find this maybe hard to relate to, but don't. When I first started working, I would save $1 a month. $1 a month went into savings. So I don't happen to agree with whatever you're postulating that you can't save.
So in the episode Boy Meets Curl in 2010, it seems as though The Simpsons predicted that in 2018 at the Winter Olympics, the American men's curling team, the first ever one, would win the gold medal. And that's what happened. Pretty impressive, huh?
Also, Jeremy's not an employee.
Yeah, that's true.
Got to work on that.
You know that you can still, Jeremy, little word of advice, you don't have to be an employee to save money. You can start an IRA, a self-employment IRA.
Yeah,
How about we just hire him? How about
I got it. It's fine. In the episode Bart to the Future, they mentioned that the U.S. president was arrested, which is believed to predict Trump's arrest in 2023. The guy with the tariffs. The Day the Violence Died, aired in 1996, reportedly predicted the United States Capitol attack. Midnight RX in 2005 reportedly predicted the legalization of recreational marijuana in Canada, which was made official in October of 2018. There were several others, including Siegfried and Roy and the Tiger attack. Lisa Goes Gaga in 2012, which ultimately seemingly predicted the outfit for the 2017 Super Bowl halftime show for Lady Gaga. So, ton of stuff going on here with The Simpsons, David.
The tiger attack thing, that seems an easy one to predict.
Yeah.
If you're going to live your life with tigers, if you're Siegfried and Roy and you're trying to domesticate wild animals, I think Ron McGill would likely agree you can't do that.
In 2010, a character in Elementary School Musical predicted that Bengt Holmstrom and Ben Feringa would win the Nobel Prize, and then they both won the Nobel Prize in 2016. So I think that's an impressive one. Predicting Nobel Prize winners is pretty cool. 6 years ahead.
I think that can be fixed.
And
Probably.
we think The Simpsons fixed it?
The power of The Simpsons and our friend Hank Azaria. Maybe he got absolutely involved in who's winning Nobel Peace Prizes.
So is the cupcake good? Are you going to eat another one, or it wasn't what you were expecting?
It was plasticky.
Oh.
And I used to love the cream filling and the way it was. And the not having taste hurts, but it tasted like cardboard.
Oh, okay. So that definitely.
And so that impacted it. And then I said to myself, do I try the Twinkie? I used to love Yodels and Twinkies and Ho-Hos, and I haven't had any of those in decades. Yeah. But I think I may go for... I never ate these snowflakes. I don't know if you had those. Those may have been gone by the time you were born.
Well, without taste, I mean, all you
now it's just a waste.
Basically feel is the oil that they use to make this stuff. So, not great.
The cupcakes were so good, and they were cheap. Now they're not. It was like $3.50 for the 2 cupcakes.
Tariffs.
That is all about tariffs. Or maybe it's the price of ingredients. Although I don't think there's any food in them. I assume it's all chemicals. I looked at
all the oils that went into the filling, all the oils that went into the actual pastry portion of it. Yeah.
In the episode that aired in 2010, September 26, Krusty the Clown invited Homer to the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony, while Marge and Lisa went to a performing arts camp for the week. Interestingly enough, the episode featured guest appearances by Leah Michele, Amber Riley, and Corey Monteith of Glee. So
it was your favorite episode ever?
Yeah, it turns out. It was my favorite Simpsons episode.
I'm going to argue it's
Glee's a more transcendent comedy than The Simpsons.
He just wanted to talk about Glee, Billy.
You like that predict anything. You just telling us about a Glee episode.
Yeah, I wanted you to know about it. One of the top tier comedies of our time.
Folks, I want to talk to you about Game Time. I've been using the Game Time map plenty as I'm starting to plan my summer concert season, looking for great trips around concerts, and also with a sporting equinox in town, essentially, I've been checking the Game Time app every single day to see if I can get great deals on NASCAR and tennis. And let me tell you about this amazing new feature that Game Time has now called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. You can even find last-minute tickets up to 60% off quickly and easily using Game Time Picks. Game Time Picks makes curation easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. You know, the whole deal. And it's got all in pricing. With a little click of a tab, you don't get surprised at checkout. You know what you're getting into. Seat views, panoramic seat views from the seats that you're thinking about buying. You get to see exactly what your view would look like. That was super clutch at a concert I went to last week. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Hey friends, it's Jer Bear here, and I'm here to tell you all about Boost Mobile, which is now a legit nationwide 5G network. So I must take a break from the jokes here for a second and put on my serious voice, because I would never ever joke about a 5G network that has invested billions building 5G towers across the country. Not even once. Not even if Mr. Boost Mobile himself asked me to. There is nothing funny about it. Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network and also provides coverage across 99% of America. Seriously. Visit boostmobile.com or your nearest Boost Mobile store location to learn more. The Boost Mobile network, together with our roaming partners, covers 99% of the U.S. population. 5G speeds, not available in all areas.